Hello, welcome to another video. And it's been a good few days since I talked about the Amico. In fact, by the time of uploading this, I think it will be a week, almost a week, something like that. I can't quite remember. It was the one with the Die Hard 2 cover. Anyway, I was just basically saying that Tommy Tallarico is like General Esperanza in that film. In that, as I was saying, they're screwed basically if the baddies manage to get General Esperanza as he lands in Dulles Airport. If they manage to get him to a country with no extradition treaties, then they're completely stuffed. I can't use the words they use in the film, I think within the first 30 seconds or so of a video for obvious reasons. But yeah, so if Tommy, after he declares bankruptcy and all this palaver, if he then gets to a country where they can't extradite him back to America to be put on trial for all kinds of shenanigans, then yeah, the investors are all, well, just everyone who's got money in this is completely stuffed. Now, I've got a couple of things just to come up with this. I mean, there's been so much content about this in the past few days. I've just not had the chance to do anything. And quite frankly, at this point in the day when I'm making this video, I'll be having my dinner. I'm putting off my dinner for an hour so I can make this video. But what we got, there's one sort of main video I'm going to be looking at, and then I want to have a look at I'll go through some of the comments which I've not covered for a little while. But yeah, what's it called? The fundraiser. So this has been going about 2 weeks now. Has it been longer than 2 weeks? It might be longer than. God, I can't remember now. It's been so long. Might be 2.5 weeks. But basically, they got up to. It must be about 2.5 weeks. They got up to. It did get up to 60 grand. So it was like people at Intellivision just kept putting their money in. Just at least, let's not be completely embarrassed about this. Let's just get our fundraiser up to 60 grand. We need 5 million, so it's got up to 1%. But let's just get it to 60 grand, and then it won't look too embarrassing. And then they get it up to 60 grand, and then some investors pull out, or maybe the Intellivision ones get found out, and it's back down to 58 grand and $1. Who put $1 in? And 54 investors, so the whole thing's completely fucked. I mean, I did see, so I'll go through the comments. There's a comment about, I think this thing is going on till the end of April. So much for trying to get we're supposed to be getting the shipping date from Phil Adam, by the end of February. So that's by Monday coming up. And this thing, the investments for this is still going to be going on till the end of April. It's embarrassing. Just pull it and give everyone back their money. It's just, just pull it and just wrap up shop. Or just keep it going and we'll all have a good laugh at it. It's just not laughing at the people who've put money into it, but it's just laughing at the Intellivision, the people who are clearly trying to scam people now. And it's just, they've got to be, they need to be held up and brought before a jury and all the rest of it, and just held up to be ridiculed. The people who are trying to just scam everybody. It's just they need to be pulled out and just, I can't use the words I want to say, but you know what I mean. It's all very depressing. Okay, so just before we get to the main event, I forgot to put this tweet up last time, but this was quite funny. Intellivision put up their, here's our brand new Intellivision Amico family trailer, which is just the plug for StartEngine, basically. Rapinator said, when exactly will the family be able to play the console? And then Pepper replied, when we can travel the multiverse and find the timeline with a competent and honest Tommy Tallarico. Well, that's never going to happen. But let's just get on to the next little bit. Die Hard. He doesn't look anything like Bruce Willis, but I know what you mean. This is Turbo Joe presumably, and I don't know, Retro Bro. I think he hasn't done an Amico video in over 2 weeks. I saw a couple of his recent videos, or parts of them, and he was just doing like stuff to do with the Evercade, sort of unboxing a console that anyone who bought it unboxed about 4 or 5 months ago. Meanwhile, So we've got some DJC Gaming. He says, I'm not nervous. I think StartEngine was just extra. That's it's just quite funny what he says. If I put the volume on, it will be funny. Talk amongst yourself.
Everybody is a little bit nervous. I mean, I'm not. I know a lot of people, maybe because I'm a little closer to it, I guess. I don't think the StartEngine, I think that was just extra, if anything. To be honest, this company's been surviving for 3 years. They constantly raise money because they're pre-revenue. So it's just how it's always happened, and that's what that all is. I'm not worried. I'm sure they're going to announce something's going to be either shipped or be coming out, or a date of something.
I mean, how does he keep? How does he keep lying to himself? I don't understand it. This has been highlighted there. I don't know who's put this up. Paraclaw. Intellivision saying if we raise $5 billion at StartEngine, it might sustain us for 7 to 9 months. And they're at 1%, and that's been raised in 50. They've raised 52, a little bit more. But $60,000 or $58,000 in, well, maybe it was 52,000 in 12 days. It's now now 58,000 in 2.5 weeks. It ain't happening at all, is it? But in the Amico group itself, the Amico Reddit, someone has published this video. Is the Intellivision Amico a scam? A former lawyer accountant's take. So I saw a couple of little bits on this. I know this video came out a couple of days ago. This is why I wanted to sort of cover it, because I think by the time I actually get around to it, if I allow myself time to actually try and have a life, I'll never get around to doing it. So here we go. So I just sort of skip past part of the intro. I'll try not to have too much of a cough, but here we go. What's also a bit annoying is that I'm just drinking water at the moment. I'm meant to be having a pint of lager at the moment, but guess who forgot to put them inside the bloody freezer, inside the fridge. So at the moment I put a couple in the fridge, and I've just put one in the freezer. So hopefully that should be ready in about half an hour. God, it's been one of those. I was going to say it's been one of those weeks. It's been one of those days. It's been one of those weeks. I've had obviously the fridge freezer that broke down, had to be replaced. That was about 4 or 5 weeks ago. There's been numerous problems. Actually, AO came out to try and fix the door. They ended up making it worse. But I had Samsung engineer come out the next day anyway to deal with other things to do with the fridge freezer. The thing that made whale noises, that's air in the seals. So yeah, that will apparently disappear. I'm waiting on a new tray. There's a missing tray in there, and also he managed to fix the door. So after the Keystone Cups from AO bungled it completely, made the door worse, the Samsung guy on his own just managed to. He knew what to do to get the door. It was pretty much almost level. It might just be that the original guys made it level when it was on part of the floor in the kitchen, and then when they move it back, the floor's not entirely 100% level all over. So yeah, it then went out of whack when it went into the place where it is now. But anyway, it's the place it's in. It's fine. It looks all right. I say slight bit off, but it's livable with, and so it's not going to cause any problems for me. There's all other kinds of shit that's been going on, leaks thanks to Storm Franklin. But so I've had tiles replaced, and I've had pointing done on brickwork to stop a fucking leak in the bathroom. Oh God, it's been shit the last few weeks. It really has. Let's settle down with some Amico positivity, as the DJC says. We're nearly at the end of the week now, so let's just try and get through it. Try and get through the week, that is, not the video. Just try and get through the week and just get to the fucking weekend. Here we go.
First announced by video game composer Tommy Tallarico in 2018, the Intellivision Amico was to be a family-friendly console with affordable games, free of swearing and violence, and no predatory sales practices like microtransactions.
And no rap games. I think that's what Tommy said. Rap games, like a rap battle. something like that. I don't like using. Yeah, I know what it is. I know what the word is. I don't like using the word. So yeah.
The company had success with an early fundraising campaign, and while I wasn't personally interested in the system, I could imagine it carving out a small niche of fans. However, following
but small, not worth $70 million they've wasted so far.
3 years of mismanagement and constant lying to investors and consumers, the Intellivision Amico is now almost certainly doomed to failure. Intellivision is on its 4th crowdfunding campaign, which, even if successful, will only tide it over for 6 months. The project is beginning to feel like a scam. That may be harsh, but I don't know what else to call the latest attempt to raise money with a pitch filled with lies and misleading statements.
It's a scam!
Whatever you want to call it, I strongly advise you to stay well clear.
Scam!
Obviously, this isn't the usual type of content I put out on this channel. However, the former lawyer and accountant in me couldn't resist digging into this mess.
I was just saying, I've not watched this guy's videos before. Maybe I will after I watch this one.
Original Intellivision, a portmanteau of intelligent television, was a home console first released in 1979 with a...
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, the graphics they show, they were certainly... I know he mentions the Atari 2600. I've watched the first of the few minutes, and then the rest of it will be a blind reaction. But, I mean, compared to the 2600, the graphics were better, but I've covered before that, you know... the Intellivision was £200. The Atari was about £120, £130. So all the parents, you tend to gravitate towards the cheaper one. And if that's the one that everyone gets, the parents will ask, what's Dom got? Oh, he's got the Atari 2600. Oh, right, I'll get that for Mike. That kind of thing. So everyone will end up buying 2600, so we can all play the same games and swap games. The console's graphics do look better, but price is the key thing.
A couple of subsequent iterations. It sold over 3 million units in its first 4 years, but struggled against the Atari 2600 and in the video game crash of the 80s. And that was pretty much it until 2018, when Tommy Tallarico bought Intellivision Productions, which held the Intellivision IP, and announced his plans for a modern system dubbed Intellivision Amico. From day one, Intellivision made it clear the console was targeted at families with young children, from the acronym SAFE for Simple Affordable Family Entertainment.
And it's certainly not affordable anymore, that's for sure. Just, they think it's going to be going up to $350 at least, so we can all pay for Mr. Agarwal's dodgy deal. Mad.
To the maximum age rating for games of E10+. Games would be cheap, initially up to $8, although the cap is now at $10 for digital and $20 for physical.
And it's going to be going up and up and up to $20 for digital at least. And
that is set to go up again.
Yep.
DLC and microtransactions are banned. All games have to be unique to the Amico.
So everything that, I don't like sort of microtransactions anyway, but anything that you can make money on. I know it's been mentioned elsewhere, or have I mentioned it? Tommy talks about 3 billion players. They're all with mobiles, and people play free games with microtransactions in. He thinks they're all going to buy his console with no microtransactions, and so you sort of pay up front. No.
Tallarico claimed modern controllers were too complicated, so the Amico controller has a touchscreen with a wheel and shoulder buttons designed for ease of use.
Because that's not complicated at all.
Even by those not familiar with gaming. Basically, he wants to replicate the success of the Wii. All this sounds nice in theory, but the Amico is always going to be a tough sell. The messaging has been...
And who was it who... I'm not sure whether it was Goose or Ninja Kitty. Just apologise who it was who pointed it out, but when you watch the kids playing on the... pushing on the controller, they're trying to select the rocket ship, and it's not selecting.
Sounds nice in theory.
Sorry, it's not selecting.
But the Amico is always going to be a tough sell. The messaging has been remarkably out of
just not working at all.
Touch with common sense knowledge about the video game marketplace. I didn't make this video to bash the project as a whole, but it's important to show just how detached from reality Tallarico and his team have been from the start.
Out of touch with reality. Brilliant.
For example, the fundraising campaigns are dripping with more boomer energy than a Facebook anti-vax group. If I dare complain about the price...
Anti-vaxxers. Good lord.
Price point, I'll probably get told to cut back on the avocado toast. And that price point, It was $250, which was bad enough, but the range now goes up to $350, which is more than the Xbox Series S or a Switch, and just $50 less than a digital PS5.
It's just, if it wasn't making sense to people before, it's just going to make no sense. It's going to make even less sense now.
The videos include hilarious clips depicting modern gaming as a dark and solitary activity that is tearing families apart. You'll be shocked to hear that some teenagers are apparently spending time away from their parents and with their friends instead.
I spent a lot of time away from my parents just because they wanted to. Yeah, I wanted to play video games. They wanted to watch crap drama in the evening. Ironically, I'm the age they were then. I'm that age now, and I watch a lot of crap drama. Some of it's good drama. If you watch This Is Going to Hurt, when the sort of the BBC NHS drama with Ben Whishaw, absolutely fucking brilliant. It's not sure if it's been shown in any other country than the UK, but at the time of making this video, I've watched I'm almost all the way through it. There's 7 episodes, and it's absolutely fucking brilliant. So I recommend that. This Is Going to Hurt. That's what it's called, which unfortunately is what's going to be happening to a lot of Amico cult members.
Some even wear headphones.
And rooms full of laughter were replaced by insulating headsets.
Oh no!
There's a baffling picture of old consoles presented as complicated.
Headsets.
Boomer! There's a baffling picture of old consoles presented as complicated compared to the simplicity of the Amico.
Yeah, that was weird. It's just like I should really make that full screen, but it makes it look complicated because you just have several consoles all just shoved on top of one another. It's stupid.
This one cracks me up. Like, what are they trying to say with this image? Why compare it to old consoles for a start? Isn't the point that modern gaming is bad and old gaming was good? And if you do want to compare to old consoles, why not show all the wires and remind people how messy it was? This image just makes me want to get my Sega Mega Drive out. The advertising makes a big deal about how there are more than 3 billion gamers, which is basically just them counting everyone with a smartphone. Imagine trying to pitch a movie and leading with 5 billion people watch movies, we're going to make a fortune. That's basically what Intellivision is doing.
Yeah, even though obviously not everyone's going to be interested in one particular movie.
And has anyone on this all-male team ever met a child? Like, kids quickly get to grips with controllers, and if the family can afford a $350 novelty
They've met many children. They're called the Amico cult.
Console, they can certainly afford a cheap tablet or a phone for the kid to mess around with. And that's if you can drag the kid away from Roblox or Minecraft. Kids aren't idiots.
Is it Roblox? I call it Roblox. I've not played it, but I've tried playing Minecraft for about 10 minutes. I had no idea how to get anywhere. So yeah, I won't be the next Stampy anytime soon.
Annoying, but they aren't idiots. I'm also not sure how Intellivision expects to get devs on board to make unique games for a system that even in Tallarico's wildest dreams will have a small user base and caps the price at $10. And did the Ouya just not happen to these people? And that system was cheap. But yeah, having a bad business model doomed to failure is not something worthy of investigation or being called a scam.
It's just, I think maybe it could have been a thing at first, this Amico, and then it started going into scam territory with all the cancellations and whatnot, and yeah, that's the point where it's all going up the shitter, and yeah, scam.
The very channel you're watching this video on is a failed business, but it's not a scam. The problem comes when you continuously lie while asking for money. I'm not going to list every inconsistency and inaccuracy relating to this project. Plans change, prices increase, ideas have to be cut, pandemics happen, etc. It's not all dodgy and worthy of warning or ridicule. I'll stick to the more blatant lies and general mismanagement. As always, I like to kick things off with a little light fraud. Intellivision Entertainment has long touted its Karma gaming engine, which it claims adjusts game difficulty on the fly.
I think from what's unless he's about to, I've not watched this part going forward, but but yeah, it's been said that the Karma gaming engine is just something Tommy Tallarico made up. So it's just bollocks. It says the Karma gaming engine is a balancing system built into Amico games, so players of all skill levels can compete fairly against one another. It does this by dynamically adjusting the difficulty for players based on how well they are doing in the game. This allows Amico games to provide competitive gameplay for both novices and hardcore gamers alike. So it basically sounds like it's dumbing the game down. And if you've got two people playing the same game, of different skill levels, it's going to dumb it down for everybody.
This was mentioned during the first fundraising campaign on Fig and is still mentioned in 2022's fundraising campaign. This sounds a little odd, right? Like, not the concept of adjusting difficulty as such, but the fact that it's seemingly built into the console firmware. Well, it's a lie. While official materials mention the Karma gaming engine as a real thing, Tommy Tallarico has gone on record many times in random interviews and streams admitting, even boasting, weirdly, that the Karma gaming engine is just a marketing term.
Yeah, it's just it's like oh god, what was his name? The guy who ran fuck, what was it called? It's completely gone out of my head. Just I'm trying to say it, but Ratner's Gerald Ratner. He was selling like £5 crystal decanter trays with 6 glasses in his shops for £5. Yeah, £5 for a crystal decanter and 6 glasses, and he made a fortune. And then he was asked, he then, as part of a speech to business companies, he said, "How can we sell this for £5? Simple, because it's total crap." And I think that was 1991, and as soon as he said that, his whole fucking business crashed overnight. So it's Tommy Tallarico's Gerald Ratner just saying he's making up bullshit, even though we knew it anyway.
Sega's infamous blast processing on the Genesis/Mega Drive.
A gaming engine is like Sega's blast processing. So it's just a marketing term. Blast processing. It's not like a real hardware thing or anything. We call it the Karma gaming engine. So, it's not really an engine per se. It's more like a philosophy. It's not real a physical engine or anything like that, or a proprietary whatever. It's a way of thinking.
Can you not get out of the broom cupboard?
The Karma gaming engine. It's not really an engine. It's a philosophy.
Oh, that light thing in the background. Whoever that chap is, I've got something like that from B&Q with 6 lights, and it's sort of a bit of a funny thing. It's yeah. Sorry.
It's like blast processing on the Mega Drive, right?
This is interesting. First of all, blast processing was technically a real thing. It essentially added a bunch more available colours by blasting the processor. However, it couldn't be used, not with regular cartridge games at least, because if it was used it would take up all the console's processing power with nothing left to run the game. But it was real. The Karma gaming engine is apparently not, despite it being described in investor materials. Even worse, Intellivision Entertainment continues to describe the Karma gaming engine as a patented system. It's not. I mean, you can't.
It's patented bullshit, which Tommy is expert in.
Can't really patent something that doesn't exist, right? Or can you? Because in January 2022, Intellivision did file a patent application which includes an adaptive difficulty system. So is it real now? And if it is, why would Tallarico say it's not? This engine, or whatever you want to call it, looks basic and I'm not convinced it's patentable, but I'm not an IP expert or a programmer.
Sounds just like bullshit.
Proprietary, whatever.
Anyway, you probably shouldn't describe a system as being patented in an investor presentation when you don't have a patent yet. But it gets even worse.
Well, facts. Tommy doesn't worry about facts, does he?
Intellivision Entertainment received a grant of €450,000 from the Film Commission Bayern, a Bavarian entity that seems to be at least partially funded by the local government. The grant specifically describes the Karma system as being under patent.
Sounds like the kind of money they got from Mr. Agarwal.
So Intellivision must have told the Commission that it had a patent for the Karma gaming system, which means it basically lied to the Bavarian government to get a grant. I suppose it's possible that there was a misunderstanding during the application, possibly a translation issue, but frankly most Germans speak better English than what I do, so I doubt it.
Tommy Tallarico is just a liar.
We just call it the Karma gaming engine because it sounds cool.
The next thing isn't so much a lie as it is highly misleading. Intellivision claims to have over $25 million in pre-orders and directs. We know there is just over $7 million in pre-orders through Fig, but it appears the rest of this number is merely declared interest from retailers such as GameStop and Amazon. I highly doubt those companies have committed to purchase any units.
Well, they certainly haven't taken $18 million in pre-orders, and a lot of people would have cancelled those by now. Excuse me.
And I certainly don't see any commitments in the latest available balance sheet. Intellivision lost $1.3 million through a manufacturing deal gone wrong. The money is still listed as an asset at the end of 2020, although a note in the SEC disclosure, which was so important it apparently had to be mentioned twice, makes it clear that the money is probably gone. This disclosure...
So a dispute of prepayments for electronic components at risk of partial or complete loss. Intellivision paid $1.35 million in prepayments for electronic components to Arc Electronics UK. Due to a contract dispute, the disposition of these funds are potentially at risk and may not be recoverable as cash or components that have already been purchased on the behalf of Intellivision.
It is full of typos, by the way. I'm probably biased here, but seriously, don't skimp on legal fees when you're making an SEC disclosure. Like, this is not the place to cut corners. The SEC has already given Intellivision a slap on the wrist related to the hiring of Jay Allard. Allard joined as Global Managing Director in May 2020. As an Xbox co-founder, he added a sheen of legitimacy to the project, or at least he would have done if he hadn't taken one look around and bailed. His prompt exit made the project look worse than if he had never joined in the first place. After Allard left, Tallarico continued touting Allard as an employee during an earnings call, so the SEC had to write a letter demanding clarification. Speaking of Tallarico,
Just dodgy, saying this guy's still working for you when he's long since gone.
He's not exactly the epitome of strong leadership and often spends so much time arguing on Twitter and internet forums such as Atari Age that you have to wonder if he's doing any work at all.
Well, we know that. No, because they've not made any progress on the games for the last 2 years.
He constantly attacks critics, calling them everything from morons to gaming racists, and at one point was following the likes of actual racists like the Quartering on Twitter. Atari Age ended up shutting its Amico thread due to all the drama. When Ars Technica published a piece about the Amico based on information in an unprotected developer portal, Tallarico went on a Twitter rant threatening to sue Ars Technica.
That was funny as fuck. And of course, Tommy, if you want lots of people, okay, I suppose a lot of people did see those tweets in the end, but if you want more people to see your tweet, you put a dot at the, you don't start with an at, because you start a new tweet with an at like that, at Ars Technic, and it's just Twitter just sees it as a reply to Ars Technica, even though it's not replying to anything. So put a full stop at the start, and then it'll be like a normal tweet, and people will see it.
For breach of intellectual property because the materials had confidential written on them. Tallarico has now been replaced as CEO by Phil Adam, who, if you're curious, was part of the Coleco Chameleon team. The Coleco Chameleon was another retro game console that never made it to market and also employed somewhat dubious marketing tactics. I don't know if Adam had a big role in that project, but it doesn't exactly look good.
Doesn't inspire confidence.
Tallarico still has an executive role and is so confident in the success of the Amico project that he's going on tour with his band in April.
Yep, he's trying to get a shot of the whole thing.
Crucial parts of Intellivision's business model change on a regular basis, although these changes are often kept out of official materials and just casually mentioned in interviews. Initially, Intellivision planned to take a whopping 50% from every game sale, although they now say this is not fixed. Phil Adam recently said that the $10 limit on games...
I think Steam, it's Epic Games Store take 12% of a game. Steam were taking more, and then I think they backed down to 12% in the end, but... yeah, that's Intellivision. It's just a joke.
Game prices is going away.
And we're putting more money in.
Recently said that the $10 limit on game prices is going away.
Yeah.
And we're putting more money into the content, the software than originally planned. And the price will go up. It's not going to go up 500%. It's not going to be $50, but it's going to go up 50 to 100% in some
And DJC is so happy about the price increases.
cases. And the products we ship day one will be $9.99 digitally. But you'll see some licensed titles and others that are higher end, what we consider AAA titles, which we will have some.
Tallarico made a huge deal about having original games, but it now seems to be settling for ports. They've even started talking about putting...
Yeah, it's just all falling apart, the last-ditch attempt to get some money.
Putting their games on other platforms, which strongly suggests they know the Amico is doomed and just want to get some dev costs back.
They should have just put the games out as software on other consoles in the first place and PC, but as we've seen in between the 2022 and 2020 promo videos, there's no progress between the content in terms of how any progress they've made with the games. So they're not even working on those.
On the games. Intellivision's sales pitch states that other gaming consoles cost upwards of $500. No console costs over $500. The PS...
Nothing modern anyway. Nothing, unless you try to get some sort of retro thing, I suppose.
PS5 Disc Edition and Xbox Series X are $500, but there are cheaper versions of both available. Someone called Intellivision out on this, and the response was that those systems would be over $500 if they included 6 games like the Intellivision does. But come on, who do they think they're fooling with this? I was
You get 6 free games and then you're fine.
going to ask a few questions myself, but they are now asking for people to provide LinkedIn credentials if they don't like your tone.
Who uses LinkedIn?
And people have already asked the pertinent questions. Intellivision just chooses not to answer anything beyond softball stuff. There's no concrete information on how much each console costs to make. Ars Technica did a parts breakdown and put it in the sub $100 region.
Because it's a fucking joke. The console, that is.
The tech specs suggest the console is on par with a mediocre Android phone from about 2016, so it's not exactly a powerhouse. Intellivision has refuted the claim that the consoles cost less than $100 to make, saying that the cost is nowhere near that low.
Because it's at least $200, because they've got to pay Mr. Agarwal $100 per console sold.
I get why Intellivision felt the need to say this, because it doesn't want to look like it's making too much profit on the consoles, but from an investor perspective that's obviously bad, and it suggests the company is perhaps overpaying on parts, or at least not getting the sort of deals you might expect.
Or they're just making it up.
On a more minor note, Intellivision is selling physical copies of games to collectors, except there's no physical game in the box. It's a piece of plastic you tap against your console to initiate a software download.
Hey, but it's got Evil Knievel, who died many years ago, sadly, and but hasn't been relevant for many years, so at least since the 80s.
This is one of those things that's just a bit scummy and not outright duplicitous. Intellivision knows full well that people buy physical games for preservation purposes, especially people buying retro-style consoles. They don't want what is essentially a download code for a system that is likely to have a lifespan shorter than the amount of time it takes to download a game. And it's not like this is a situation where the game can't fit on the disc. Interestingly, Tallarico claims these...
I was going to say, John Avocado just looks very sheepish there, doesn't he?
It's not like this is a situation where the game can't fit on the disc. Interestingly, Tallarico claims these games are NFTs.
It's an RFID card that is also an NFT. That means this is tracked in the blockchain, this specific individual card. So we can register it through the Amico.
Which blockchain? They never said.
And who is the owner becomes registered in the blockchain. The cool thing about that is you can transfer ownership as well from one Amico to another.
Exactly. So you're not like, it's not like you're downloading it and then, you're stuck forever.
So like a physical cartridge then?
These are transferable.
Now, I hate NFTs because they are a blatant scam, but if what Tallarico says here is true, it might be the one acceptable use of them because you could in theory sell your digital games. Of course, that's a massive if, because you can't trust anything he says at this point, and it doesn't sound like he really understands what NFTs are.
And who wants to buy the games anyway? And the only people who will be buying them are the Amico cult, and if they've already bought the games, they don't want more copies of the same game.
Or maybe it's just me who doesn't. He says all the games have been put on the blockchain, but I'm fairly sure that involves spending crypto, which immediately makes this a financial loss. Speaking of those games, Tank Battle, a game Intellivision has heavily promoted, was caught using assets stripped from World of Tanks.
Oh yeah.
There's also been a lot of iffy marketing that leaves a bad taste in the mouth, like the photos of people holding the controllers, which were actually edited stock photos.
Yay, we're playing Amico, not.
Tallarico once again went after Ars Technica for having the tenacity to point this out.
Go.
And, okay, while he's right that this is what stock photos are for, that's not what bothers me.
Jesus, like some sort of strange 70s horror film.
These photos were included in a 2021 E3 presentation. At this stage, Intellivision had video footage of people using the controllers, and that was included in the video.
So why not just show that or film more people playing with the controllers?
Why not maybe take some photos of those people? Why bother editing stock photos? Yeah. It's just weird and shows an inattention to detail. Intellivision often quotes people out of context, so if I were to say, I don't think the Amico is going to be a huge success, there's a chance you could see them quote me as saying, the Amico is going to be a huge success. There are interviews with supposedly random people talking about how...
Well, they've covered that last time, I think, with the re-res, when Intellivision just cut down what he said, took out the line where he said it was going to be, I don't think it's going to be a big success, just leaving in the line that says if anyone can make it work, it's going to be Tommy Tallarico. That's before he pulls the thing about saying it's not going to be a success anyway.
How much they love the system, but they are the most obvious plants I've ever seen.
It's really A lot better than I expected.
I love it. The controller is fantastic. The motions are great.
We are investors.
Very smooth. The gameplay is fun. I like the graphics.
I love it. The Amico system's great. I love
Yeah.
the fact that it's a very family-friendly game.
Anyone can come to this and just sit down and start playing, and frankly, that's the way video games should.
Who has a goatee beard? Just why would you have a goatee? Just have a proper fucking shave.
be. It is going to fly off the shelves.
This does happen in
Yeah, when it goes back to the manufacturers.
advertising, but this feels more misleading than your typical advert.
And that's where are we?
Fly off the shelves.
This does
She was turned out to be an actress anyway.
happen in advertising, but this feels more misleading than your typical advert where you sort of expect it. And with those games, Intellivision really doesn't want you to see them running, especially how the controller interacts with what's on screen. I heard
Because when they show the controller and the game, we can see how out of sync it is and with the lag.
reports of input lag, so I went looking for footage and found very little that proves it either way. Most promotional
come
footage
on.
tries to hide the problem. For example, during a presentation of Tank Battle, there's minimal footage of the controller and game on screen in one shot. And at one point, just as Tallarica goes to press the fire button, the shot cuts to picture-in-picture, which may not be properly synced up, so you can't see if there was lag.
There is another part of the footage, I've shown it before, where Tommy's in the deep dive, maybe the original deep dive, which obviously is no longer online, where you can he spins it round, the controller wheel, but the turrets on the tank can't keep up, and then he presses fire and it doesn't fire for ages, and then he lets go of fire and it keeps firing.
I found one shot that didn't cut away, and it did look like there was significant lag. Maybe the tanks are just slow to fire. To be fair, there are a few short clips of other games where lag is minimal enough to not be a huge concern, so maybe it's just that one game or it was the environment they were testing in.
But if you're trying to charge more for a console than a basic PlayStation or ultimately or Xbox new machine, then and you've got lag and they haven't, then you're fucked.
And the touchscreen, by the way, doesn't look great. When talking about Astro Smash, Tallarico excitedly talks about different colour ships to choose from, but they all look the same colour.
Yeah, they're all purple. Well, the little tiny details in them are different, but apart from that, they're all purple.
Colour on the touchscreen.
Now you'll notice the 4 ships are 4 different colors.
Yeah.
You got red, blue, purple, and green.
Yeah.
So depending on what ship I pick, I'm going to pick the red ship right here. Now watch my disc light up, boom, because I'm the red ship. The red ship comes down.
I'll leave you to make your own mind up about the games from the video footage. I wouldn't get too excited for big name titles like Earthworm Jim though.
Ah.
So far the only footage we have of this game is the titular Earthworm running briefly to the left and then to the right for about 10 seconds. Intellivision Entertainment's lies and misleading comments are important because the company has received millions of dollars in funding from the general public and investors and is looking for millions more. 17
million they've wasted so far?
The first campaign on Fig raised $7.1 million via what were essentially pre-orders.
I think that was like they raised the majority of it, but then 7.1 million of $1 goal. That's bizarre. But yeah, I think they raised the majority of that in like 3 days, and the new one couldn't even raise $50,000 in 3 days.
There was a campaign on Fundable, but this is private, so we have no idea how much was raised.
Aww.
The SEC filing doesn't mention this at all, so just think of a really low number and then halve it, and you might be close to how much this campaign generated. The next one is interesting. Via Republic, which now owns Fig, Intellivision raised a whopping $11.6 million in April 2021.
And spent it and wasted it.
It was over 13 million at one point by the sounds of it, so it appears some investors pulled out. That's a lot of money, which you might think would tide them over for a bit. Why would they need a 4th round 9 months later?
Because they pissed it up the wall.
Well, I don't think they've received all that money, or even most of it. Maybe any of it. This one requires a deeper dive. Now, usually when we think of crowdfunding, we think of the likes of Kickstarter and even Intellivision's earlier Fig round, which are essentially pre-order programs. However, following the SEC's eventual implementation of the Jobs Act, companies can now crowdfund via stock issuances. Investors get a stake in the business instead of just a product. However, in this case, investors aren't putting their money directly into Intellivision. Instead, investors receive special shares in Fig Publishing Inc. called Fig Gaming Shares-Amico.
This sounds very dodgy.
Essentially, Fig Publishing issues a different class of stock for every investment on its platform. The idea is that Fig Publishing then invests in Intellivision with the money from that stock issuance, but it's under no obligation to simply pass all the investor money to Intellivision. In fact, it can't. Fig Publishing is a company like any other and has a board with fiduciary duties towards its shareholders. Fig Publishing needs to do due diligence before investing in Intellivision to ensure the money will be used as promised and that there is a reasonable chance of return for its shareholders.
Not a chance of that happening.
And I'm sure they'll charge a generous management fee for the privilege. The Intellivision accounts for the year ended December 31st, 2020 do not mention a specific amount forthcoming from Fig Publishing. While the accounts are for the period before this money was raised, they weren't signed until December 2021, and you'd absolutely expect such a large incoming cash flow item to be mentioned in a note, especially given that the auditors have expressed going concern issues.
Just get Neil Patel to tell us how wonderful it's going to be, and there you go.
Similarly, the SEC filing doesn't specify how much money the company will get or has already received from the Fig Publishing relationship. The fact that no numbers are given makes me suspect no money is forthcoming, but
because it's all a dodgy scam.
Where it gets really crazy is that the opposite could be true, and that could be just as bad. You see, this deal through Republic is terrible. It's so bad that even if the company had just been given, say, $10 million through Fig Publishing, Intellivision might want to keep that secret so as not to scare off the future investors it now seeks. The conditions of the Fig Publishing investment state that Intellivision must give a revenue share of every hardware and software sale until investors have been paid back 3 times their investment, and then for 2 years after that point.
It's not going to happen.
These revenue splits can be as high as 15% on hardware and 25% on software. Remember how Adam said game prices are going to have to go up? Well, this might be why. At best, these percentages destroy profit margins. At worst, they make every sale into a loss. Intellivision could end up paying $35 million to Fig Publishing just to get the reduced rates, which would last for another 2 years.
Even if it came out, which it's not going to.
Any sane investor would run a mile from this.
Sane investor, yeah.
So yeah, it's possible Intellivision hasn't received any of the Republic money, or it's received all of it, and neither answer is actually good. And now we get to the 4th round of fundraising, this time via StartEngine. Intellivision Entertainment is seeking direct investment now, which might suggest it didn't like the outcome from the intermediary experience with Fig Publishing. Intellivision is now issuing its own stock, so it had to file with the SEC, which is why we now have a lot of information about the company.
But they loved that, didn't they?
An aside, Intellivision formed a Delaware C Corp for this funding, which is not unusual nor suspicious. While the Ars Technica reporting has generally been excellent, I do want to correct part of this article which suggests the incorporation may have been for tax reasons. It's not. If Intellivision still has a physical presence in California, California will get its cut. Don't you worry about that.
They've got several offices, but whether they actually have the offices is a different matter.
Investors are just more comfortable investing in Delaware corporations as opposed to California LLCs.
Or anywhere apart from Amico.
Now, Intellivision is seeking $5 million. At the time of writing, it has under $70,000.
So hang on, they're $8 million in debt, but they've still got $70,000 in the bank. Is that right? $70,000?
Seeking $5 million. At the time of writing, it has under $70,000.
Wow.
The SEC filing outright admits that even if it gets the entire $5 million, which looks incredibly unlikely, it will have to raise another $5 million in a few months just to make it to the end of the year.
It ain't happening.
You have to be a bit careful when reading these SEC filings because companies are encouraged to list all possible risk factors, and they tend to go a bit overboard and err on the side of caution.
They're just pointing out that it's all... it ain't going to happen.
That's what Intellivision did. Actually, if I were a skeptical man, I'd say it's thrown loads of unnecessary risk factors in here to try and obfuscate the important ones. For example, many of the risks just essentially say we need to comply with the law, although I suppose it's equally likely this was not deliberate and just a result of doing the filing on the cheap. Anyway, there are a few nuggets in here worth looking at, mainly the intended use of the funds. It's incorrectly worded, but what I think they're saying is if it raises up to $5 million, it will spend 32% on the back end and optimization of the firmware.
Oh, I thought that was all finished according to Retrobo and DJC.
So potentially $1.6 million. This sure sounds like the storefront is nowhere near ready.
But they showed us it was great and working.
I've seen people throw around the $8.7 million figure for debt. I don't think it's quite that bad. Most of this appears to be the prepayments for the consoles, if I'm reading it correctly. I've not done accounting for like 12 years now, so I may be a bit rusty. This amount will be paid off by delivering the pre-ordered consoles. I'd be more concerned about the short-term debt, which at the end of 2020 at least way exceeded short-term assets. Intellivision is struggling to pay its employees and business partners.
It's all going to fall apart very soon.
Speaking of debt, though, we really do need to take a look at some of these loans because there's a real problem in there. It's tempting to dramatise the loans from board members like Tallarico, but these types of loans are not uncommon and don't necessarily indicate a lack of faith in the company or anything nefarious. I mean, they also probably do, but it's common and not the big issue here.
I'd say they do.
Interest on loans is tax deductible for the company, so it can be preferable to take on debt over equity. However, there is one loan that stands out.
Oh, they know plenty about debt.
Sudesh Agarwal, or possibly Agarwal, it's written two different ways, loaned the company $650,000.
That's great. So the guy they owe money to they can't even spell his bloody name right. Jesus.
$1,000 with a loan fee of over $200,000. That's an insanely high loan fee, which I would take issue with if it weren't for the even worse part, the repayment terms. Intellivision must repay Agarwal $100 of this loan for every console sold.
$100!
$100. That is nearly 30% of the $350 retail price. And bear in mind the original retail price was $250. It would have been
We're supposed to be out $150. What happened to that? Remember those days?
40% at that rate. If you're wondering why the price has gone up by $100, there you go. Now, I cannot express enough how bad this loan is and how desperate Intellivision must have been to sign it. This is genuinely the worst loan term I've ever seen, and it may contribute to the death of this company. To be clear, it's not unheard of to have loans repaid via a percentage of gross sales. The Shark Tank guys love to do this, but the premise of that show is investors offering desperate people money at extortionate rates. And even on there, the rate is more like 5%.
I sometimes watch Dragon's Den on BBC, which is basically the same show, but I've never come across percentage. They've never talked about percentage repayment terms. We only seem to sort of find out how much money they're investing.
The $100 term is so bad that it's arguably not even good from the point of view of the lender because he's far less likely to get that loan repaid at all with a $350 price tag on the consoles.
It's never going to happen.
Which of course is why the loan fee was so high. Now this $100 per console payment is not the only amount Intellivision has to pay in lenders and investors. There's also that FIG publishing deal which could take 15%. We don't know exactly how these numbers will be calculated, so I don't want to be too specific. For example, does revenue include the cut taken by storefronts and payment processors? But even being cautious and assuming a $350 price, it's hard to see how Intellivision makes much, if any, profit on early sales.
No one is going to pay $350 for that console, the Amico.
$350, less $100, less $50 to FIG, less delivery charges and payment processing, less cost of goods sold, which we know is significantly higher than $100, well, I think they'd be lucky to make any money, and that's assuming anyone buys these things at $350.
No.
And don't forget, Intellivision has already committed to selling thousands of systems at $250. It's possible those are now being sold at a loss, although perhaps the $100 repayment isn't due on those sales. This could be why the accounts classify that as a prepayment on development and not as a pre-order. Believe it or not, I do feel sorry for Intellivision and those working there. Well, most of them anyway.
Well, the people who are not involved in the scam, yes.
I don't like to see businesses fail, and it's clear some minority of people would have had fun playing these games. However, the Amico is doomed, and I really want people to be on full alert before investing or pre-ordering one of these systems. Intellivision hasn't finished the back end of the storefront, and I'm not convinced the onboard software has done either. There don't seem to be manufacturing deals in place. There's barely enough money to make payroll, and even if by some miracle it hits the $5 million fundraising goal,
not a chance.
That won't be anywhere near enough to get to the end of the year. And yet Intellivision is still accepting pre-orders and is slow to correct its lies and misleading statements, even when pulled up on them. This is where the whole thing starts transitioning from failed business to outright scam in my book. The best case scenario as I see it is that Intellivision manufactures just enough consoles to satisfy pre-orders and ships them out with the promised pack-in games.
Even though they've not finished the games and they've never even announced number 6.
Maybe.
Well, not officially. I think it came up in one of those in the menu video, and then I can't remember what it's called though. Called now, went in one eye and out the other.
It gets a storefront up and running to let customers download the physical games they've already purchased, but I doubt even that. There's a very real chance that customers will have paid $250 for a console with laggy controllers and 6 pack-in games that they could probably play in their browser, let alone phone or tablet.
Yep.
And the only consolation will be that at least they didn't pay $350 instead. Consider yourself warned.
Well, that's one way to actually get people's Patreon names in a video, which I suppose most people would ignore, but not that Not that I have that trouble, because I did try doing a Patreon. No one gave a shit. Let's have a quick look at some of the comments on the what's you call it, the StartEngine. Okay, so we're back on the StartEngine page. I'll just have a quick refresh to see. No one's put any more money in. Oh dear, what a shame. It's all going down the shitter, isn't it? Anyways, the team. So, and remember, oh no, it's something else. 76 total. So I'll just go through them in sort of most recent. I'm not going to sort of go down to try and find where I was up to, because it's sort of comment by comment. And then you do get comments within comments, so I'll cover those. But yeah, I remember where I got up to last time, so we'll just cover them as we go. So, Lewis S. Can we just, where are we? Can we get bigger? Oh, can we get bigger? Can we have it bigger, sir? Lewis S. If you can afford an Xbox Series X, surely you can afford the console that affords you with a safe, affordable family entertainment. This is a chance for you to pull in the reins on your family and become a tight, cohesive unit. The Switch might have hundreds of couch co-op and family-friendly games, but they are not Amico. Amico is all about friendships, families, great times together, drinking the Kool-Aid together. Please invest in Amico. We can take gaming back and make it fun again. Yeah. Let's open link in new tab. Oh dear, what's this going to be? It's, is this I think this was a Goose video. It's 2022 and Stez Task is still using Tommy Tallarico's Amico BS from 2 years ago.
Adaptive gameplay is a really great idea as well. Tommy talked about this a lot in the early days, what you would call the Karma engine, Karma gaming engine.
So the first thing to know about it is the Karma gaming engine is like Sega's blast processing. So it's just a marketing term. Our Karma gaming engine.
Yeah, so it's just covered that before with the lawyer guy's video. It's just all made up bullshit. Any response to this article that suggests the conflict in? I'm not gonna start bringing that up in this particular video. Tommy T, I doubt this is Tommy Tallarico. The comment section is full of gaming. Yeah, I'm not gonna say those words. I'm the world's best CEO. Many people have said that. Believe me, I'm like a smart person. Very tremendous. Nobody has as many Guinness World Records in gaming as me. I have the most experience. I have written all of the most important music in all of gaming history, and also produced all the important sound effects. Believe me, this will be a success. Many people say, Tommy, why didn't you make a gaming console? They ask and say, and they are right. I will make the most tremendous gaming system ever seen. Believe me. Oh, this can't be Dummy Tallarico. No caps, every few lines. You faker, you hater. Nick, prairie dog shooter. Why would you even comment on it? Try and ask some proper questions. Answer that. Give some proper answers. Elijah B, since Nick keeps talking about haters in the comments here, and now he's blaming them all for the reason the StartEngine campaign is flopping, I think it's appropriate to share this. I'm not going to go into every single link, otherwise I'll be here all frigging day. September, almost 4 months ago, Tommy Tallarico made a long Reddit post. I do not call people who criticise us haters, and then haters, Tommy Tallarico. I think it's just what we got here, so I have to read them in reverse order. Blah 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 blah. If a potential investor looks at the previous comments and links that I've shared here, decides after seeing Tommy's unprofessional behaviour themselves, if they then decide not to invest in this, that means that Nick, Tommy and the rest of Intellivision have no one to blame but themselves, and may come back to haunt you someday. Tommy and all his supporters will blame everyone but themselves. Yeah, it's all everyone's pretty much saying the same thing basically. My guy, they were literally a fake Tommy Tallarico comments up above you. What other company has an army of dedicated detractors trying to bring it down before the product is even released? Squealpy, what other company behaves and acts the way the Amico team does? To suggest a small group of people took a company down is ridiculous. The financial decisions that the Amico team made, is the reason it's going down and will fail. Tommy and the team did a horrible job managing the company. This is not a personal attack, it's just facts. The balance sheet does not lie. Rob A. Now there is news there might be a cheaper Amico model. I saw something about that. I've not watched, unless it's further down in the links. Kind of, what's his name? Pat the Punk has made a video about it. But I'm not, again, I've had too much going on this past week or so to look into this too much. But anyway, cheaper version. The company can't even get the first one out, and now they're claiming to be working on a stripped-down version. Is this Monty Python's Flying Circus? Yeah. Still doesn't change. Oh, here we go. Blah, 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 blah. Nonsense. Net of $52,000, presumably. Oh, no, sorry, $52 in 12 Fox. Sorry. So I thought they were talking about the whole from the start. Yeah, they've taken literally $52 net in 12 days. Shit. Yeah. Oh, it's just a joke, isn't it? Brett Weiss. My friend Saggy won't order one, but I can't wait for the Amico so we can all play games together. Games today you can't play together. But I doubt this is really Brett Weiss. But you can, just not the way you can on Amico. When I write books, by the way, I'm an author and professional gamer. And I start out small, just like the Amico. The Amico to me represent the best hope for unity in life. Controls are different, just like life. I rather think this is a wonderful investment. I know Tommy can make little things seem huge, so we all lots to look forward to. Ignore the haters and think about how this can fix your family. As Nick says, as this has been the case on this site, it's another person posting comments pretending to be someone they are not. This is not Brett Weiss. Yeah, why does he even bother replying? I'm curious that the prepaid development line is on your balance sheet. What does that balance consist of, and why is it carried as a liability? Exclusively investment that was received as part of the Republic FIG offering. Because that deal was structured as a revenue share, it is held as a long-term liability on the balance sheet, since ultimately it will need to be paid back from future revenues. Okay, so it's clear that a lot of these comments are just not actually, they're just kind of a joke comments, really. This one talks about the recent comment says focuses faith-based communities. I'm extremely confused on how this product is being positioned here. I'm not sure if any of the games mentioned here have a Christian basis. The deep dive videos I found feature games with themes of war and destruction. So in terms of what has that got to do with faith? Have we actually got any replies to that? Having games based off scripture isn't very inclusive of religions and beliefs. Faith-based families, no matter what the religion, have something in common, and that's spending time as a family. So whoever Squealer is, he's trying to, he's trying to shill for the Amico, or pretend to shill for the Amico. Rob says that $350 it won't be successful to most faith-based families and families in general when other systems with far more established games and family-based games are cheaper or the same price. Exactly. What else we got? Come on. We live in a strict Christian household, and the Amico is the first any only console we have ever considered. We want our boys to quit play with themselves. Yeah, that's just a bit of a joke, isn't it? I'm not going to start. I think I have seen the video that goes back to. I think that relates to the lawyer video, which is one I've just covered here. Yeah, I think it's the video I've just covered. We've just covered that before. So yeah, so they get also $52 net that it's pulled in the last 10 then 12 days. It's just game over. Then you mentioned that there's Christian M lists a load of consoles under $100 and over $200, and it's just okay. So you can't get you struggle to get them at retail price, but no one's going to then think, oh well, I can't get the PS5 at retail price, so I'm going to buy the Amico. It's just never going to happen at all. Is it true the new price is that? Yes, it is. Premium games, yeah. There's no sort of premium games on this sort of thing. The $500 console, most gaming systems cost upwards of $500. Yeah, we know that's not the case, so I'm not even going to go into all of that. Harold G. Kevin asked, so he's just repeating some questions that this Kevin S asked before, which I don't think ever got an answer. And yeah, there's just Nick. What's it's not giving any kind of proper answers to anything. Harold G. Warning, warning, warning! Don't invest. Well, we know that already. If you're sensible. Have we got any responses from Nick? No, it's just the same people talking between themselves. It's a bit pointless. I don't know why my name didn't show up in the last comments, but I'm Darinka, whoever that is. And there's a comment. Oh, whoever this person is. Yeah, they've got a comment here. Amico is bringing retro, something. Just, I've invested and have no regrets. Well, good for you. I doubt you don't sound, doesn't sound like a genuine account there whatsoever, quite frankly. Again, it's the same people just you're using very bad English and just all talking amongst themselves. Just a bit of a waste of time. I did look at that, and that's the one of Tommy using all kinds of names under the sun. It was a big image full of names that he was calling people. How is a Nintendo 64 complicated, or any cartridge-based system? You stick the cartridge and you're off. Most NES games only use 2 buttons. Well, it's too difficult for Tommy Tallarico. And then, yeah, a lot of stuff that Tommy Tallarico has said before that is all very, very dodgy. Do some research. I believe I should have been part of this campaign's disclosure. Yeah, talk about missing the 4 launch dates, which Amico have just completely whitewashed over. Again, you made only $5,000 in the past week, so yeah, I know this is a little bit of old news, but it's just basically saying they're not going to get the funding in. Have we got anything? Harrison, look, given that it looks like there are more haters on this site than legitimate investors, if you contact me directly and share your LinkedIn profile with me privately, I'd be happy to answer your question here in a public forum. No one who uses LinkedIn. I remember signing up to it, but I never actually used it. You couldn't seem to even message anybody, so what's the point? $810,000 to Sudesh. Have we got a response from Nick? Have we got more than one response, or just the one response? God, blah, 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 blah. $7.2 million. $7.2 million long-term debt. $5.6 million is investment. It's Republic, FGS, Amico. It's a little bit complicated. We carry this on the balance sheet so that ultimately we need to be paid back out of future revenues, not traditional debt. It's still debt, though, isn't it? I think this is what the lawyer guy was covering before. But it leaves just over $1 million, of which the majority has been loaned by the board, who are also significant equity investors. Sounds like Mr. Agarwal here. Our largest investor. Does he actually address the bit about the $100 per console? 223 accrued expenses. No, not even anything about the $100 per console. Does this next reply mention it? I don't think it does. Skipping through. Yeah, $100 cut for the first $6,750 consoles shipped. And Nick says... I'm sorry, that's not Nick, that's Christian. To go back to Nick. I'm just trying to sort of speed read through this. I'm not going to actually... Does he actually address the $100 point? I'm just going to flick through. I'm not going to sort of read it all out. If you want to go to StartEngine, you can read all the comments on there specifically if you want to. But can't see $100 mentioned. Christ, he's got a lot to talk about. Oh, the $100 per console sold, if the loan has not been paid back by that time, was requested by the banking partners as an assurance that the company would not extend the loan beyond the point of meaningful revenue generation. Yes, we have paid the fees for $67,500 in fees for this loan. He's been very helpful in negotiating extension of the payment terms with no additional fees or interest. Not getting this loan at such a critical time could have brought our progress to a screeching halt. We hope to make some positive announcements later in the month. Yeah, it's not going to be happening. liquidation scenario. It's too wordy to go through, but basically the $100 thing was what I was trying to get out of that, and he's just basically talking about it as not extending the loan beyond the point of meaningful revenue generation. So, sorry, it just sounds like absolute bunkum to me. What does he say? We now verify that people wishing to libel Intellivision have in fact created false accounts and lied about who they are. So, yeah, I'm not going to sort of go through all that. That's we know there's fake accounts on this thing. What else we got? Oh, Hate just repeats Kevin F's questions that aren't getting answered. Kevin questions being answered in the original thread. Given the aggressive use of, you call us via LinkedIn. Yeah, don't think so. Do your own research before you invest. I won't be researching this one. Well, duh. I know. Oh, this is the one where I got up to last time. So, what have we got? Yeah. Do your research before you invest. I won't be investing in this one. Nick, have you played the product, John? Nick, have you seen your balance sheet? With that comment, it's been obvious that your intentions are not genuine. You're here merely to do the company harm. I think you've done enough of that yourself, Nick. Intellivision Amico is an innovative and welcome addition to the video game community and industry. From the machine and controller to the games, this experience it will bring to the scene is refreshing. Many people do not have the time nor care to spend hundreds and hundreds of hours on a single complex video game experience. Yeah, so he's trying to be all positive about the Amico, which is all clearly fake. So Nick doesn't point out that this is clearly a fake account as well. He just says, I'm amazed people spend so much of their time to tear things down. They self-admittedly aren't interested in the product. Yeah, so just Squealer loves it. Just then Haru mentions a play date. Yeah, just pointing out that there's no actual demand for the product. Yeah, so that's all fairly straightforward. And this is where we came up to last time. This is Charles Wide DJC Gaming, and I can't remember how many of these I got through last time, but it's just kind of going on. Any illegal activities reported to the authorities. Oh, there are more replies. So, yeah, Joseph is sort of spelling it out that it's disgusting behaviour, everything that's going on. That Charles, yeah, he said he wasn't an investor, then he said he was. Saggy Melons, yeah. For supposedly family-friendly console, you can't make this stuff up. So I may have covered all this console chat in this comment before. I can't actually remember, but criminal allegations and threats from an anonymous internet user. Why would he even bother replying to that? I don't know. When it's just if it's irrelevant to him, sounds like he's just best ignoring the thread. But then again, Nick's his own worst enemy. What else we got? Have we got any more comments from Nick? More libel. Yeah, just talking about people who try to libel Intellivision. And I think just don't think there's anything else. God, it's either a handful of words or just very wordy, and it's just like, oh God, it's too much to get stuck into there. I'm not going to go into all that palaver. There's a false claim that Nick was trying to dox him. Yeah, it's just again, he's just replying to the people who Tommy claims are haters. Why does he waste his time replying to it then? Hasn't he got a console to be making? Anyway, let's just go back. Let's just try and refresh the screen. Have we got any more investors? No, we haven't. Right, let's call it a day on that. So I'm going to go have my dinner. Anyway, that's sort of kind of where things are up to at the moment. It's all going down the shitter. Will we get an announcement on Monday from Phil Adam? A release date? Probably not. Anyway, in the meantime, please like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't already, click on the bell for all the notifications, and cue Genesis.